Hi friends, good morning and I welcome you to this class once more. And I hope you remember the topic that we are dealing with. It is about the judiciary. Judiciary means the court and the judges are there and they will give you the right verdict in case of there is a dispute, in case there is a quarrel or fight or your rights are violated and so on. And we said in the last class two functions of the court, that is, one is the dispute resolution, that means solving all the cases or the fights, quarrels, everything, and second one was judicial review, that if the government makes a law that is harmful for the citizens, that is against the constitution, then the court will strike it down. And today we shall see about upholding the law and enforcing FR. FR means fundamental rights. FR, short form I am writing, fundamental rights. So you can take your textbook, page number 55. 55. So every citizen of India can approach the Supreme Court or the High Court if they believe that their fundamental rights have been violated. So in the last class we said that we have 6 fundamental rights guaranteed in our constitution, and we studied it in the previous lessons. So if a person believes or feels that his fundamental rights are violated, maybe by his fellow citizens or by the state government, then he can go to the Supreme Court, the highest court in our country. We have got access, so we don't have to fear anything. We can go and present our cases, and we expect to get the justice from the court. So that is a very important thing that the Supreme Court will do. They will take care of our case and they will give the verdict and restore our fundamental rights. In the class 7 book, I hope you remember that you were talking about, or you were reading about, a person called Hakim Sheikh, an agricultural laborer who fell from the running train and injured himself, and whose condition got worse because several hospitals refused to admit him. So I hope you remember in class 7 book you studied about an agricultural laborer. He was traveling in the train and he fell down from the train and got injured, and he was seriously injured, and people took him to hospital, and the hospital said, no, we will not take him, we will not accept him, because it was very serious case. And so they went to many hospitals and all were refusing. They said, no, it is too risky, we will not accept this patient. So he had to be carried to many hospitals, and the time was getting late and his condition became very worse. So that was the case. And on hearing this case, so his case went to the Supreme Court, that doctors were refusing to treat him, or hospitals were refusing to admit him in the hospital. So that was a serious case, and the court was hearing this case. And the Supreme Court said that Article 21 speaks about right to life. The Article 21 of the Indian Constitution speaks about right to life. So this right to life means right to health also. So when this person's health is weak, he is falling down from the train and he is injuring himself and he is not getting the treatment. His health is becoming weak. And so when we say right to life, it means right to good health also. If we don't have good health, how can we live? We will die very soon. So right to life is also there. And therefore the Supreme Court told the government, it was happening in West Bengal, and told the West Bengal government to pay him compensation. He lost his good health because of not getting treatment in time, and so government has to pay him fine, compensation. Some amount of money should be given to him for the loss suffered, as well as to come up with a blueprint for primary health care with particular reference to treatment of patients during an emergency. So the court also told the government that they should pay him compensation and also come out with a blueprint. Blueprint means writing very clearly that in case of emergency, how should people get primary health care. So this person was injured, very seriously injured, and he was refused treatment. So in such cases, what are the hospitals supposed to do? Can they say, no, we will not take this fellow? So they are refusing to take him. That is against the right to life article, the fundamental right. So court told government to write down very clearly that the hospital should accept the case in case of emergency, in case of emergency treatment. So that was the verdict given by the Supreme Court. So the court found that government was guilty in not making proper law in order to protect the lives of the citizens. Now let's see there is a small chart is there. You can see here in your textbook. You can see a chart is there. So we have to write different types of disputes. For example, dispute between center and state. So can you just say an example where center and the state government, central government and the state government, they are having fight or quarrel? Can you say? So suppose the law that is passed by the central government is affecting badly the state government, then the state government can fight against the central government, can go to the court. And there are certain areas are there where the state government is allowed to make its own law for that state. So if the law that is made by the state government, if it is hurting the fundamental rights of the people, if it is blocking the fundamental rights of the people, the central government can fight against it, tell them cancel that law. And if the state government is not willing, then they can go to the court. So the mistake can be of the central government or mistake can be of the state government. They can be fight. So that is an example for dispute between central government and state government. Now another one is dispute between two states. I said in the last class the example of fighting between Mizoram and Assam. There is a border dispute and they are fighting, and unfortunately some of the people lost their life as well. So that is a dispute between two states, and it is a court who has to say who is right, who is wrong, and so on. So that is an example of two dispute between two states. Then dispute between two citizens. That is very easy. Very often it is taking place in our society. So suppose somebody is encroaching into the property of others. Some people, they do that. They will change the boundary fencing little bit. They will scratch little and make the fencing go inside. So stealing the property of others. That is breaking the law. So then there can be fight, quarrel, attack, and so on. Or you kill somebody. Someone is killed. Then there can be fight between the family of these two. That is the dispute between two people. So that is example. Another one is laws that are violation of the constitution. So we said in case any law is made that is going against the constitution of the country, the court can cancel it. So one such example is the law that is violating the fundamental rights of the people. The people have got the full freedom to go anywhere in our country, settle anywhere in our country, and live, work and live, earn and live. So if a state is making such a law that this place is meant for only few people and others are not allowed to come inside, then they are violating the fundamental rights of the people. So people can complain to the court against such laws which are preventing or blocking our fundamental rights. So that is not allowed, and court will give the verdict, court will cancel such kind of laws which are blocking the fundamental rights of the people. Now we had said that our judiciary is independent, is it not? Our judiciary is independent. That means it is free from the government, it is free from external influences, it is free. The judge will decide who is guilty depending on the law. They will follow the law exactly and they will decide who is guilty. That is called independent. So the Prime Minister cannot tell the judge, you give this kind of judgment, you support this party and give verdict in favor of that one. Nobody can tell the judge that way. Nobody can influence the justice system in our country. Let's see what is it. So imagine a situation in which a powerful politician encroaches on land belonging to your family. Suppose near to your family, a politician, a very powerful politician, maybe a minister, or he is having good support with the ruling party. So he is encroaching your land. Encroaching means taking away your land, changing the boundary fencing and taking away your land and making his land. So what will you do? So within the judicial system, the politicians has the power to appoint and dismiss a judge from his office. And when you take this case to the court is clearly partial to the politician. Suppose if the judiciary is not independent, if the judges are appointed by the political leaders or the government, and you go and complain against this politician to the court saying he has encroached into my private property, then do you think that the judge will give you verdict? Will the judge say, no, the politician has not taken any land to his boundary as it was before? So he will always support the politician because judge is appointed by the politician, isn't it? So in India that is not the case. In India it is not the politicians who appoint the judges. Therefore the judges don't have to listen, or they don't have to show any partiality to the politician. They don't have to give any favorable verdict. Any partiality is not shown. So the control that the politician holds over the judge does not allow for the judge to take an independent decision. So if the judges are appointed by the politician, then the judge will be afraid to give a verdict against the politician because he can dismiss the judge because he is appointed by the judge. And so the judge will be afraid, if I give verdict against the politician, then he will take action against me, he may dismiss me, and then I will not have a job. So he will have so many fears and he will not be able to give a correct judgment. And so he will always try to show partiality to the powerful person. And this lack of independence would force the judge to make all judgments in favor of the politician. So if there is no independence, if the judge is under the control of the powerful politicians, then the judge will not be able to give a correct verdict, a sincere verdict. He will be always showing partiality to the powerful person. Or somebody will give some money and the judge will accept that money and say, okay, I will support you. So such kind of things can take place if the judiciary is not independent. And although we often hear of rich and powerful people in India trying to influence the judicial process, the Indian Constitution protects against this kind of situation by providing for the independence of the judiciary. So, the people who made our Indian Constitution, Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar and so on, so they knew very well that this kind of situation will come. The powerful people will try to influence the court to support them and make them clear or make them free from any guilt. So that kind of situation will be there if it is under rule of someone else or if it is not independent. Therefore, they very purposely clearly wrote in the constitution that the judiciary in India will be independent, so that people can get justice, people can get the fundamental rights to use or to live and so on. So all their rights will be restored. So that is called independence of judiciary. In order to get a clear verdict, in order to get a sincere judgment, we need a very independent judiciary. Then one aspect of this independence is separation of powers. So why this judiciary is able to become independent? Because it is separated from other powers. So we said about three organs of the government, that is legislature, legislative, executive and judiciary. So these are the three organs of the government, three parts of the government, and each of them have got different functions. Legislature's duty is to make law, executive's duty is to implement that law and make sure that people are observing this law, and judiciary's role is to punish anyone who is offending, anyone who is disobeying this law. So all these three are independent, they are not depending on each other. So judiciary's duty is to not to make law, judiciary's duty is not to control the government, but its duty is to give judgment to the citizens so that all can live a very independent life. That is the duty. So these powers are separated. Legislative have got their power, executive have got their power, judiciary has got their power. So the powers are separated, they are independent of each other. So this, as you read chapter number 1, the key features of constitution. So when we were studying the first lesson about the Constitution of India, there we were discussing in detail how the powers of judiciary, the legislative and the executive are separated, how they are independent from one another. So no need to depend on another. They can do their duty independently without fearing anyone, without being controlled by another one. And this means here that other branches of the state, that is the legislature and the executive, cannot interfere in the work of the judiciary. We said each one has got their own separate work, therefore they cannot interfere in others' work. The legislature cannot go and tell judiciary, you give verdict this way, you explain the constitution this way, cannot. It is the duty of judiciary. They have studied the law nicely, the constitution nicely, therefore they know everything. They don't have to depend on the advice of others. And the courts are not under the government and do not act on their behalf. You can underline that sentence. The courts are not under the government. The courts are independent. They are not under the government, and therefore the court does not have to act according to the demands or suggestions of the government. Government can say so many things. Court, you give this verdict, you support this fellow, that fellow, or you support the government. They can say so many things, but the court does not have to listen to them. They can take independent decision in order to give or deliver justice to the people. So for the above separation to work well, it is also crucial that all judges in the High Court as well as Supreme Court are appointed with very little interference from these other branches of the government. So we say the judiciary is independent. That means the judges are independent to take the right decision on every case. And so, in order to make them independent, these judges are not appointed by the politicians or by the government. So there is a different system is there for appointing judges to different courts, to the Supreme Court, to the High Court, and so on. And so once appointed to the office, it is very difficult to remove a judge. So without any interference from others, without any partiality from others, the judges are appointed to the court. And once they are appointed as a judge, then we cannot remove them easily. That's a lot of processes there. Suppose one judge is showing partiality, they are always giving the wrong judgment, then we can remove them. Not simply one day go and say you are dismissed. Not that way. There's a process is there, inquiry is there, impeachment is there. So they need a lot of support from others, evidence should be there. So a lot of process is there. So it is not very easy to remove a judge who is appointed to the court. Therefore, we have to make sure that they are appointed if they are good, if they are qualified, and so on. We cannot simply appoint anyone to the court, then we ourselves will be suffering. So in order to avoid such a kind of wrong things, we need to appoint judges who are good, who have got proper wisdom, knowledge, and so on. And it is the independence of the judiciary that allows the court to play a central role in ensuring that there is no misuse of power by the legislative and the executive. So, since the judiciary is independent, judiciary can control even the government. Suppose we said earlier that if the government is making a wrong law which is against the constitution, then Supreme Court can cancel it. So, Supreme Court is powerful in order to cancel the law. And if the executive, their duty is to implement the law, make sure that people are obeying the law. Suppose they are angry with someone and they make a false case against that fellow, saying that this fellow has murdered another fellow. Maybe he has not murdered, but executive is unhappy with that fellow, maybe they are enemy. So in order to make him implement in this case, he can make a wrong case against him. And the court will hear the case, ask for evidence, and examine the witness, and finally will come out with the truth. And they will criticize the executive that their work is not done properly. So the judiciary can control both the government and the executive if they are going in the wrong way. So it is because judiciary is independent. And when the judiciary is controlling the government cannot say you are against us, be careful, we will not appoint you, again, or we will dismiss you. Such kind of cases the government cannot do because judiciary is independent. Therefore, it can make the correct decision in the right time. Whoever may be, it may be Prime Minister or President, the the government or the judiciary can take action against anyone who is making a mistake, anyone who is committing a mistake. Then it also plays a crucial role in protecting the fundamental rights of the citizens, because anyone can approach the courts if they believe that their rights are being violated. So, if any person feels that my rights are violated, or I am not getting my rights, somebody is blocking me, then I can go to the court. Even up to the Supreme Court, I can go and demand that my rights should be restored. No one should block my rights. The rights that are guaranteed in the Constitution, that should be available to me, and I should be allowed to use all those rights. And otherwise, I can go to the court, and the court will direct the government or the executive to restore my rights, so that I will be able to use all these rights and be able to live as a free citizen of India. So with that, we shall wind up for today. And so the judiciary is really a protector, we can say, a guardian. So in case anybody is trying to block our rights, or if we are denied something, we can go to the court, and the court will restore our rights, court will protect our rights, and court is acting as a guardian of every citizen of our country. So it is a really great thing, and it is possible because our judiciary is independent. So our constitution makers, they have made the rule that the judiciary will be independent, so that every person in our country will receive the rights, receive their rights, and they will be able to receive the clean judgment, the sincere judgment, to live an honest life, sincere life in the country. So we shall wind up for today, and the coming class also we shall study in detail about other activities of the court, other duties of the court, and how can we receive our full rights with the help of the court. So thank you for listening. Have a nice day.